Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Travis. Today's video is going to be a quick one. I'm going to go over some tips to help those of you who are trying to add new tanks or new tubs to your main display. What I'm going to go over here will save you from destroying your carpet, your hardwood floors, and making sure that you have the most success possible. Now, I am editing all the content for this tub, which you guys will see this week. There's going to be 2 or 3 videos associated with this. I think 2 at the moment, and then I'll have a 3rd with the rack system. But other than that, the tub turned out great. You can see it in more detail right now if you go over to Instagram and follow me. But either way, let's go ahead and get into the tips. That's what she said. Anyways, the first one is to always make sure, regardless of your setup, that you have check valves. Now, this is the one that's on the DCS 18,000. This pump powers the low boys that I have over here, which are actually empty at the moment. Won't be for long. And then it powers the tub. Now, I do have that also connected over here to the UV sterilizer, and that's pretty much what that pump takes care of. Now, I do have another check valve, which is the higher end one, a little bit pricier here in the back. That is connected to the DCS 15,000, which powers the main display, or provides flow for the main display. Now, regardless if you have a check valve and what you spend and how good it is, I've even had the one in the back there fail at some point because it gets dirty. They do. You always need to make sure that you have your return nozzles above the surface. A lot of people don't like doing this, but trust me, the check valve will fail at some point. It always does. Now, by having the nozzle at the surface, not only are you adding surface agitation, which I'll bring you over to the other tank, but what that does is if the check valve fails, you won't be siphoning all that water back down into the tank. I know that's super blue, but anyway, so if this was down, right, so this was in the tank and that check valve failed, it would siphon all the water from this tank down to that level if the pump goes off and the check valve fails. So always keep it just above the surface. Not only does it save that from happening, but it also allows you to have some surface agitation. Now, I know that was really blue. I do apologize for that. Now, the second thing you want to do is test the system. Whenever you add new tanks, like adding the low boys or adding the new tank, you always want to make sure that regardless if you have a check valve, the siphoning or doesn't, that when you turn off the entire system, so when the pumps go off, that you'll end up having enough room in your sump. So you guys can see here that I'm at about, a little bit of movement there. I'm a little bit higher than I should be. I tend to keep my water level about right here, but you know, it's a little bit higher for right now. I don't exactly know the reason. It just is. I guess I was messing with the ATO a little bit earlier and didn't realize that it was on still. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my entire system, and we're going to see kind of where it ends up. Let me go ahead and get over here to the apex. Whew, okay, I should switch hands because this one's not going to work right there. Here we go. So we're going to turn off the main pump. Turn off the skimmer, turn off the secondary pump. I'm also going to turn off the UV sterilizer so I don't burn up the bulbs. So, alright, so everything's going to turn off and we're going to see what happens. So, right now, we have our system completely off, so all the water is going to go down to the existing drain. I know, again, it's really blue. So whatever's left in the tank is going to go down to the point with the drain. And then, of course, we don't have anything siphoning back down into the return. Maybe it's not so blue over here. Nah, it's still pretty blue. But as you can see, woo, can't see anything with that. No, none of the water is siphoning down in there. Just basically everything that's where the teeth are is just dropping down. Basically, that's it. How many times are you going to say basically, Travis? I don't know, basically about 5 or 6 more times probably. So anyway, the system's pretty much done. Okay, it's almost turned off. We got a little bit coming in there. And we can see that the water level is pretty high, but it's not overflowing. Now, one thing that you can do, if you find that you're getting a little too high in the sump, which, by the way, I did. I found out when I tested it yesterday that I was getting up a little too high, just a little bit higher than that. Not much more, but just, you know, not comfortably. Because obviously you don't want this thing overflowing when the power goes off. What you can do is actually dial down the flow to whatever tank. So what I did is I went over here to the ball valve and dialed down the flow just a little bit to the main display. Because it was actually up pretty high, and then what that does is that what that makes happen is that when the flow turns off, that there's less water that needs to drain back down into the sump. So hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, so those are the 2 things you must do when adding to a setup, adding a tank to your setup, or even just setting up a tank in general. You need to make sure that when the flow goes off, you're not going to overflow your sump. So that's where, you know, sizing the appropriate sump to your display is always good. And then remember, check valves fail. They always fail, regardless of buying the $20 one, or I think it's 50 or 60 bucks for that one. They will fail at some point. They always do. All right, so that is my quick tip video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Any questions, or if you want to add anything to this, feel free to do that in the comment section. If you want to support the channel, head over to FishOfHex.com. I am giving away another Apex this month, and to enter to win, all you need to do is purchase something from the website, and your order number will automatically be entered. Now, stay tuned this week. Again, I'll have 2 videos out for this, complete setup, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to show you guys that. So anyway, that's it. Hopefully, guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you later. Peace.